Assalamu alaikum. Hey lovelies. Welcome back to all the girls out there. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing and splendid day so far. So today I wanted to talk about something that I was kind of having a conversation with my sister about, and it's something that I've learned over life recently that I think a lot of girls need to hear out there. And it's that number one, vulnerability is not a weakness. And number two, it's okay to make mistakes and to not know it all. I've been someone who, a lot of my life, I grew up thinking that I just knew it all, wouldn't make mistakes, and I would just, I didn't even live life. Like, I would just go through trying to avoid getting things wrong all the time and trying to be a perfectionist. I was always like, no, don't do this. You can't do this. If someone does something to you, like you're stupid for doing that. And I always kind of had like my guard up. So I would never try, like, let my guard down. I would never be vulnerable because you didn't want to look like a fool. I didn't want to be someone who, like, someone would take me for a fool, or like I look dumb because someone's treating me otherwise. Someone's treated me in a way where I feel like I look stupid. And even when it came to friends and people who are in other situations where they put themselves in place of vulnerability, I would always say to them, like, I would give them my words of wisdom because Alhamdulillah, I've been in a place where I am able to guide, like, I was able to have knowledge and wisdom at such a young age, and I was able to help my friends and guide them and tell them, like, look, don't do this. However, I had a bit of like blindfolds on because I wasn't able to see how difficult it was for them on their part. I was just able to see, like, no, if you do this, you're stupid. But then at the end of the day, like, no one actually knows anything. You don't know people's intentions and you don't know what's going to happen, and the reality is you don't know the answer to anything that's going to happen in your life. Like, everything you do is always a leap of faith. And so at one point I kind of realized that I always had my guard up. Like, I never allowed myself to make mistakes. I never had a space to actually live. And I realized that if I'm always trying to be Miss Perfect and never making mistakes, number one, what is there to life? What am I even doing if I'm not, like, learning? I felt very, like, boring as well and unrelatable. It's like, how are you human? The most important thing is, like, going through things, making mistakes and learning from them. And I was like, how are people even going to relate to me? How can I influence people? How can I help them? How can I give people advice? If there's no story, I've not made a story for myself. And I'm not saying I go into anything with the intention of making a mistake or with the intention of doing something that's going to make me look dumb. Like, no, it's not that intention. But if it has some sort of good in it and there's a risk, sometimes take that risk. Obviously, it has to be calculated, but, like, it's like not trying to be friends with someone because there's a risk that they're going to hurt you and stuff. But then there's also a risk that they're going to be an amazing, like, there's also a chance, sorry, that they're going to be an amazing friend to you and they're going to have good things, like good things, or like saying you don't want to build relationship or friendships or trust in people because someone's going to die at the end of the day. But you don't know how much value you're going to take from that, if you know what I mean. And yeah, so I just felt like I wasn't building a story for myself because I thought about it, and it's like, if I advise someone, people are going to think, oh, well, she's little Miss Perfect. She's been perfect her whole life. She's never made a mistake. And now you feel like you can't change or you can't make something better of yourself, when that's far from the truth. Because the thing is we're all humans and we're all going to make mistakes. And of course, there's a lot of situations where you can take precautions and avoid certain things. I'm not gonna doubt that. Be smart. Everyone needs to be smart. However, what I am saying is that it is okay to make mistakes. Okay, it is okay to so-called be the fool sometimes. You're not gonna know everything. There are moments when I did decide to let down my guard. It was so difficult because, like, you have this certain pride to you. It's like you can't get anything wrong. And I also feel like that was part of my downfall, probably why I also ended up in a, what's the word? Anxious attachment style somewhere down the line. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, you can't, I just wanted to have that control over how people approached me and dealt with me. So it's like, well, if I leave you there at a certain level, or if I have this ego, no one can treat me like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so it was hard because there were moments when people, something will not go the way that you wanted it to, and it's difficult because it's like, well, I've let my guard down and it's not gone the way that I've wanted it to, or someone's treating you in a way that you don't want to be treated and stuff. But it was also one of the most beautiful things because I had good experiences and things that come out of being vulnerable, like the experiences that you get and things that you learn. Like you're never gonna get that without actually making mistakes and trying new things in life. And I'm so thankful, alhamdulillah, that I went for those things. And yeah, I sometimes I look back at those moments when, things happen, or let's say you trusted someone and you felt like you didn't trust someone, because I grew to kind of always try and see the good in people. I always wanted to see the good side of people. And I feel like a lot of the time when people are around you and people have their guard up, they always want to see the negative side, that in order to protect yourself, which was me at a point in time. I always wanted to look at the negative. Oh, well, they're lying because da 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 da, and in a way that protects you. But then it doesn't do justice, because the thing is, not everyone in the world is against you. Do you get what I mean? Not everyone is praying against your downfall. Not everyone is trying to steal from you. Not everyone is trying to give you nazar. Not everyone is trying to be evil in your life. You know what I mean? Don't get it twisted. Those people definitely do exist, but not everyone is trying to do it. And so when I kind of let down my guard, I started to realize, look, not everyone is against me. And I try to always see the good in people and, always try and assume the best in like a negative situation or in a situation. Obviously, a lot of times it does kind of upset you, because the world we live in, there are some evil people, there are some wicked people. Yeah, so whenever people will come to me and kind of say, like, look, there would be situations where you could kind of see someone was doing something and you might think, like this is a little bit weird, like this is bad. And before I would have been like, oh, see, like they're lying, no, I can't believe anything that they say, blah 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 blah. I wouldn't want to give anyone the benefit of the doubt, basically, in order to protect myself. Then I reached a point where I was like, you know what, I am going to give you the benefit of the doubt, because it's not fair that people who are doing good have to suffer for the fact that there's other bad people. And what I've learned now is that you're honestly not going to know, and it's better to treat someone like they're not guilty, innocent until proven guilty, pretty much. What I've learned is, and something that I've been taught as well, is when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And so you can assume the best of someone out of like their best interest for you and for the world. It's not nice to move around the world always thinking negatively and thinking that everyone is against you. However, if someone does show you that they are lying or they're acting in a certain way, then believe that and don't be hesitant to act accordingly. Do you know what I mean? You just like look at their actions and how they've come about in terms of their deceit or whatever it is that they've done to you, and be okay with that. Because I still have times when I would sometimes look back at moments when I feel like I've been deceived or I've been lied to or treated in a certain way, and I think, well, Fatima, how could you let that happen? Like, you're so silly. And this is kind of like the old Fatima kind of coming to me and telling me, like, how could you let that happen to you? Like, we would have never done that. But then I have to look at it and I think, like, how was I supposed to know? Like, I'm not God, I'm only human, and I'm a human who sees the good in people. And that was that. People show you who they are and you act accordingly, and that's all you can do. At the end of the day, you can't predict anyone. Of course, like I said, you can look at certain characteristic traits and things that they have going on and, make your moves from there. But at the end of the day, you don't know what's in anyone's heart. Like, you are not God. It's not even your job. Like, just you act according to what you know, what you can see, and you move from there. And that's how we keep moving from life. But if we just sit there and try and control everything beforehand, you are not doing yourself a justice, to be honest, because you don't know anything. And so I just want to say to whoever it is out there that is annoyed because they feel like they should have known better, or they should have done better, or could have protected themselves better, I just want you to know that it is okay. Like, it is perfectly fine that you have made the mistake, or perfectly fine that you didn't know, as long as you grow and you learn from that. Because at the end of the day, as had we had known better, we wouldn't have done it. We know better now, and so we act accordingly. But if you knew that trusting that person was going to lead to the lie, would you have done it? You wouldn't have done it, because you would have known that it was going to lead to that hurt, but you didn't know, hence why you went through with it. Do you know what I mean? So don't be annoyed at yourself or angry at yourself like you should have known. You didn't know. Yeah, and that's fine. And you know now, and you act accordingly, and you take the time to heal, forgive, whatever it is that you need to do to move on through life. Because it's also not fair that people who are good people have to deal with being treated like they're guilty before they've even tried to show you their good side. You know what I mean? And some people will take the mick. Yeah, they will take the mick. And so if they do, you act accordingly and understand the risk that you have to take. But no one is perfect. And I just want to know, any girl who has done something and they feel like they've regretted it, or they should have known, that it's okay. You are perfectly fine. You can move on from it. You're not stupid. You're not a fool. Yeah, you didn't know. And maybe there's certain mistakes that you didn't make, but it's okay. You can make the decision to change now. And for any girl who was like the old Fatima, who's in that situation now where she feels like you always know the answer, you don't want to take risks, you don't want to try and do anything because you feel like you have all the answers and no one's gonna hurt you. Let me tell you, you are not God. Yeah, you are only human. A human is what you are. At the end of the day, you're gonna have emotions, and you're not gonna know everything that's gonna cross your path in this earth. And for as long as you continue like that, you're never gonna understand what it is like to actually experience life and go through these things, because the reality is you have zero control over the humans around you. Yes, you can adapt to how you act around them, and so they act accordingly, but it's generally not your job to control how they are gonna act. Like I said, you can be nice to people or rude to people and understand people and act differently, and because of that they might treat you differently, fine, but you yourself did not actually generally 100% control how they behaved, and you never will be able to. And from the moment you learn that, you can go on with your life and enjoy it and live it to the fullest. Because what is it that you're going to do? You're not going to allow yourself to experience anything else in life simply because you want to avoid looking a certain way, or be treated like an idiot, or be blah de blah de blah. But what kind of life is that? Like, you don't get to experience everything. You don't get to experience all the emotions that there is to experience in the human world. You've not allowed yourself to experience that simply because of fear. It's not worth it. You don't get to grow as well. You grow through your mistakes. You learn things through your mistakes. And so if you're here always talking about, oh, I can't do this, don't do that. Yes, I understand it. Of course, you need to have your morals and have certain things that you're not going to do and you won't do. Yeah, I understand that. However, at the same time, you are allowed to be vulnerable. It is not weak. There's no weakness in that. It's perfectly fine to trust people And it's a beautiful thing to confide in people. You don't need to confide in everyone, and you don't need to tell one person everything. Of course, those kind of things can be risky, but like, we've been built amongst humans and with trust in humans, and we're wired to be part of groups and tribes and stuff like that. So it's fine to talk to people. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be vulnerable. I'm gonna say it. I said it and I'll say it again. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. And the feeling that you feel when you just kind of let down your guard, it just feels so relaxing. But at the same time, when it comes to being vulnerable, you need to have boundaries. And that's a lesson that I learned, that boundaries is so important. You need to know that people step over a certain line with you, you cut off there. You got the vulnerable side of me, but now you want to use that vulnerability against me. Done. You're not going to be vulnerable with that person again. Like I said, who are you to know everything that this person's gonna. Oh, now obviously, this is what I mean when I say there might be people that you can read and you can see. If it's someone that goes around speaking people's business all the time to you, like when they come to you, they're always telling you something about someone else, and you go and you decide to confide in this person, then I don't know what to say, because you've not clearly judged their character accordingly. However, if it's someone that showed you that they're worthy of trust, they've not really like that, and you go and you trust them, and then somewhere down the line they go and tell someone, then you're like, how was I to know? Because based on what you saw, they didn't have that kind of character. However, they switched up somewhere down the line. You cannot predict the future. You don't know what's gonna happen. And that was Allah's plan, and you have to sit there, qadr Allah, alhamdulillah, it happened, and go down the course of life that you're supposed to go down. And now you know that this is no longer the person that you confide in or you can be vulnerable with, and that's that. But there is no problem being vulnerable. You just need to have boundaries when you do it. And yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent, but I just want to make sure that any girl out there, especially anyone who just feels like they need to know, everything, or just is just beating themselves up about whether it's being played, being deceived, being hurt, being made look like a fool, like it is fine. It's difficult, but it's okay. It's what makes you human, and it's what makes people relate to you as well. That's your story. It builds your story. When you go through life, you're able to say this and this and this happened to me, rather than no one could ever do this, no one could ever. But who can relate to that? Who? Everyone has a story. Even people who you see are eventually like that. They've got a story that's built up to it, and that's what makes you relatable. And yeah, it's what makes you. It's just how you experience life. Anyway, that's all I have to say. But remember that, girlies, you got this. You're strong, and your vulnerability is also a strength, because it's not easy, especially for the ones who are like, nah, I can't, I'm not gonna let anyone It's a strength, because then it's harder to be vulnerable than it is to protect yourself. Or so-called quote unquote protects yourself, because it is probably more damaging than protecting. But yeah, I don't really know if there's more to say. Yeah, anyway, with that being said, Ramadan is literally coming up very soon, inshallah, and preparation for that is super duper cooper important. Also, just making the most of the Ramadan, inshallah, because I'm definitely in need of a spiritual reset, mind reset, because I am funky lunky right now. And so I've kind of designed a Ramadan reset guide thing that what I usually anyway always use in Ramadan. I've never actually written it down. I do all of this mentally, to be honest, but I put it in guide form on as a PDF. So I will put the link to sign up for the guide in the description if you do want that, because it will just be beneficial if you really want just a reset and just be able to make the most of it. It's just got journal prompts, reflection on like your current year in terms of it, a man in the current year, the sins that you want to give up this Ramadan, and the good deeds that you want to take on this Ramadan, how you're going to go about it, your plans for Quran, whether you like tafsir of the Quran, if you want to actually look into the stories, and much more. I can't remember at the top of my head, but these are all the things that I usually try and get done in Ramadan, and I hope that someone out there will be able to benefit from it. So yeah, there is that. I've also launched coaching for anyone that is interested. So the coaching is basically for any girls who just are on that journey of like self-development, trying to be their best selves, I guess, be in their feminine energy, be confident, and have like the best marriages and relationships and stuff. You know, all of that kind of cool stuff. I know there's a lot of content out there and there's so many people online who can help, and I'm here hopefully to help you guys and continue assisting on the journey. But I also noticed that a lot of the time when I watch these people, a lot of them aren't Muslim, or the things don't align, you know, some like type of manifesting stuff, or you know, just I don't even know what it is that they do, but some things just genuinely don't. Like some people, they say, oh, like evil eye is not real, blah blah blah. Obviously in our religion it is very real. Just all those kind of things that just don't align, and I feel like it can be difficult to kind of explain to someone like, look, this is where I want to be, but these things don't align with me. Even when they're talking about like dating and blah blah blah, it's like, well, we don't really do this kind of things in our religion. And I just wanted to make sure that there is a space for the girlies who do need help and want to be able to talk about those kind of issues in their life and elevate and stuff, because I'm always here to help a girl out. So for the first 5 people, there is a discount. Yeah, there is a discount right now going on from 70 up to 75% discount, depending on whether you are the first person or not. But yeah, so it is up there. If you guys do need assistance or you do really want help, you can always email me, and you are able to book a free discovery call before the coaching, just to make sure everything is for you and you feel aligned and you're ready and you actually want to make the change in your life. But yeah, with that being said, I'm always here to help you guys. If you need anything, my email is in the description. I hope that you guys are doing well on this journey. And yeah, I just honestly wish you guys all the best. And I will see you whenever I see you next, inshallah. Take it easy, girlies. And I don't even know what I'm saying. But bye. Toodles noodles. Salam alaikum. Cheers.
Bida to the ones handling the way, and so the Lord counting the Fatima and the nation.